Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Building a Nation with Team Canada. And today we're going to look back at the 2019 season briefly before we look ahead to the 2020 season, where we hope to do big things not only with the nation of Canada but also with the Vancouver Whitecaps. As far as looking back to 2019, we had a very good year as a nation. We performed very well in a lot of our competitions. The Gold Cup competition, we performed very well. And then in the Nations League, we also qualified for that competition and advanced in that competition. Both times losing to Mexico. So we see the bar right now. We see where we have to reach. But other than Mexico, we've proved that this nation can be on par with anyone else in North America with the right players and the right scheme in place. So I think we're moving towards greater things in Canadian soccer, and that sort of brings us to our biggest accomplishment of 2019, and that was our under-23 team qualifying for the Olympics. Played very well in the qualifying tournament, beat a lot of teams very handily, even beating USA and just having a great tournament from start to finish. And now we move on to the Olympic Games this year in 2020. I feel that we have a good chance to perhaps medal in the 2020 Olympics. Some of our strongest players in the entire nation are in that 18 to 23 age bracket. So, we could field a very strong team going into this year's Olympics, especially if some of our other young players make some growth during this year, which I hope they will. So that brings us to Major League Soccer and the rest of Canadian soccer. We had the very first Canadian Premier League took place this year, so that was exciting to see those teams take to the field for the first time, many of them for the first time. And then in MLS, Vancouver probably was the best Canadian team this year. We did win the Canadian Championship. That qualifies us for Champions League, for North American Champions League. So that's an international competition that we'll get to take part in this year. We also qualified for Major League Soccer playoffs. We didn't win any games in the playoffs, but it was a good experience for a young team. So now let's look forward to this year, to 2020, and see what that has in store. So with that, we're going to turn off the lights here, and we're going to get to the PowerPoint presentation. So one moment, please. Okay, here we are, back with a look at the national team. And you can see when we began our campaign this last March, we were in the lowest position that we had been. That's in 80th place. But shortly after, playing very well in some of these competitions, we reached a peak of 67th ranked in the world before dropping back down to our current position, which is 70th in the world ranking. So over the course of a year, we gained 10 points in world ranking, which is pretty good. We'll take that, especially if we can continue that growth year after year, gain 10 points, gain 10 positions every year. We'll be basically where we want to be come time of the 2026 World Cup. Now, will we ever get there? That's a question. But for now, we're looking pretty good. We're in the midst of the likes of China, Zambia, Finland, Honduras, one of our North American counterparts. We're getting ready to catch up on them. We should catch and pass them this year. That's my goal for this year, is to catch and pass Honduras. And then perhaps even, get within shouting distance of Costa Rica. That would be an outstanding accomplishment in terms of world ranking. Now, in terms of players, we saw a lot of players this year, but we did really start to form a core. And as you can see here, we have our key players up top here. Samuel Piette has moved into the captain's residency here. He's an outstanding player for us. playing well right now at Montreal Impact. He's just a solid competitor all around. You know, he made some mistakes this year. He let his aggression get the best of him. Got a red card in one of our matches, one of our important matches against Mexico. But we're not going to hold that against him. He still holds, a lot of sway in the locker room. He's still a very good leader. Speaking of good leaders, this is a surprise. Adam Straith was voted vice captain by the players. I did not put him into this position. He just came to that position naturally. A guy we brought up, just because we needed some muscle at right back, and he provided a lot of good play for us last year. He's a good, solid defensive fullback. He's got good size, but most of all, he's got good leadership abilities. And, he's a team guy. He's good in the locker room. He's good on the pitch. Very stable. And a guy you can count on. And I think that's why he was voted assistant captain. And then, of course, our key player is still Ajay Cabra. He has moved along to AS Saint Etienne. Some of our other key players, Scott Arfield, starting his second season at Rangers in the Scottish Premier League at 31 years old. He's still holding in there. At 31 years old, he's still a valuable squad member. He hasn't really started to deteriorate physically in any significant way, so he's still good. Atiba Hutchinson, however, is entering his final few months. His contract expires June 30th, and that is when he's announced his retirement. Jonathan David, on the other end of the spectrum, one of our young up-and-coming players, 20 years old now. Still playing at AA Gent. Take a look. In Belgium, he's got 22 appearances this year, 5 goals, 3 assists. So he's looking pretty good, getting that playing experience that we need for a young player. Outstanding. There's Samuel Piet. We looked at him. Borjan, probably the most valuable player for our team right now. We do not have a replacement for Borjan, so we need him to hold on for as long as possible. And he's still a very good keeper, playing at Red Star in Serbia in the Super League. He's got 19 appearances this year, only allowed 10 goals in 19 appearances, so he's looking pretty good. Still strong, and we need him to remain strong for several years. And then, of course, Alfonso Davies, another one of our young up-and-comers, 19 years old now. He's got the pace that we need. He can still improve some more. Playing at SC Freiburg out on loan. Bundesliga has got 16 appearances, 2 assists. Only 6.63 rating, so we need him to perform a little bit better while out on loan. So there's our best players. There's our, where we're at currently ranked. We can take a look at our upcoming schedule and see what we have. We got several friendlies at the beginning of the year just to sort of balance things out. And then we've got World Cup qualifying later in the year. Under 23 matches, we have a friendly. And then, of course, later on in the year, in the summer, we have the Summer Olympics. So we've got a lot of exciting things going on. There's the World Cup qualifying section, quite a long ways away. North American Nations League, that was last year, so I don't think there will be a Nations League this year because we have so many other competitions going on, but I could be wrong about that. So that sort of sums up Team Canada, I think. Now we can take a look at Vancouver and some of the other teams around MLS and around the nation, see what they're up to. First of all, with Vancouver, we can take a look at their academy. Speaking about the youth of the nation, we had an intake at Vancouver. We'll sort by age here. You can see we've got quite a few 15-year-olds on the roster. And some very good prospects, just like we have been in the last few years. However, just like in the last few years, most of our top prospects are attacking players. other than that, it's an interesting class. Mark Thomas, another central defender here. Good physicals. He might be the best defensive prospect in the nation right now. 13 jumping reach, 6 foot tall, 9 strength. Marking, tackling, heading, already double digits. Very brave. He could use some help in the determination and, some of his mental attributes, but for the most part, he's looking pretty good. So we had another very good youth intake, another, crop of very, players with a lot of potential. So we'll work on those guys as we can. Now, as far as the main squad, can take a look at our transfer history for this season. Brought 3 players up from the academy. Darren Lucic, the right back, another kid with some decent abilities. He's starting to improve a little bit here and there. Very good mental attributes, a good tackler. 17 years old now. We'll work on him. Steve Merriman Zanata, interesting name. Attacking center mid. Again, pretty good physicals, pretty solid mentals. He's got some flair. Off the ball, teamwork vision, very good technique. So hopefully that will help his technical standards rise, because that's where he's lacking at the moment. And then James Haywood, 17-year-old center mid. Nice physicals. He's got 14 pace, which we're looking for. A lot of teamwork and work rate, determination, decisions, aggression. So he's an aggressive midfielder. Should be able to get in there and muck some things up. 13 passing, 11 first touch. We could work on his defensive abilities a little bit. His marking and tackling aren't that great, but he's still only 17 years old. So we got a long ways to go there. Then we had some interesting draft picks. In the waiver draft at the end of the season, we picked up Tristan Blackman, a right back. We needed some depth at right back. He's 23 years old. He's got a lot of the attributes we're looking for: speed, strength, agility, acceleration, that kind of stuff. He's decent tackling, marking, heading. Only 23 years old, but he's just a reserve type guy, and we needed some more reserves on defense. And then Jason Bellew. Sure. Goalkeeper. We needed more goalkeepers. He's 26 years old. He's Canadian. He's not the greatest keeper you've ever seen, but, we'll do what we can with him. He's just a reserve player, and he was available. Then we had MLS Super Draft. We had some first-round draft picks. There weren't really a ton of good Canadian prospects. So our draft was pretty light this year. There weren't a lot of good prospects overall in this draft. It was a very bad draft. There weren't even enough prospects to actually fully use everyone's draft picks. So it's just a bad draft crop. Our first pick, Manuel Garcia, 21-year-old central defender. 6'4", good jumping reach, good physicals all around other than agility. Very brave. Good tackling, marking. Could do with a lot of work in heading, so I don't know about this guy. We might have to move him out to fullback or something like that, but he's not really a fullback either. He's just, he's got a significant hole in his game, which is his heading, and I don't know about that, so we're going to have to work on him. Mike Trafford, Canadian, defensive midfielder, decent player, I suppose. 15 tackling, 14 heading, 13 first touch. So he's got some nice skills, but he doesn't really have tremendous physicals or mentals to back that up. So he's just sort of a tackling machine, but he is Canadian, so we picked him up. And then John Hinault, 21-year-old Canadian, another central defender. Another Canadian, he was available, so we picked him up. Tackling and marking is okay. Mentals are okay, his teamwork and positioning and stuff like that. Again, like I said, not a great draft. And then finally we got Jack Chesser from Aberdeen. A Scottish youth player. He's a guy we picked up last year. He's finally going to come on board. Excellent physicals, a lot of speed and acceleration. He's got some good potential, so we'll see. We'll see if we can sneak some Canadian heritage out of this guy. I don't know. He'll probably end up playing for Scotland if he plays on the international level at all, but we're going to take a flyer on this young kid. And the players we've sent out, we got rid of Jordi Reyna, one of our best players. 26-year-old Peruvian. He's out. He's going to make room for some more Canadian players. PC at left back, another one of our best players. 25-year-old Brazilian. He is likewise out of here. He's gone to Sporting KC. Jordi Reyna, where did he go to? He went to somewhere else. Hapoel Beersheva. Probably in Israel. But anyway, he's out of there. And then Maxime Crapeau. He's also gone to Philadelphia in waiver draft. You know, he's a guy we could use. I mean, he wants to be a starter, though. So hopefully he can get some starts at Philadelphia. Maybe he can make his way back into the Team Canada lineup. But for now, he is securely in the doghouse. Wesley Timoteo, 19-year-old Canadian. We also lost his services. No, he's on loan. All right. I was going to say, why did we get rid of this guy? Because he's on loan. That's why. All right. So those are the incoming and outgoings. Now we can take a look at some other teams around the nation. See, we can take a look perhaps at some of the, I don't know that we'll take a look at Canadian Premier League so much. They do have some interesting rosters and some interesting players. We are scouting them right now. They've got a lot of, a lot of players that are out on loan. Some goalkeepers we're definitely keeping an eye on at the national level, like Marco Carducci. You saw we called him up last year. But, we don't have the full Canadian database loaded, the special one that other people are using. Jack Work the Space is using his big Canadian database. We're not using that, so the Canadian Premier League isn't particularly exciting in my save, but they are still there. They do have a roster, and players, Canadian players are getting some playing time there. Toronto FC 3 is a team we want to look at, though. They've got some interesting prospects. Again, really light on defensive prospects. They've got one interesting goalkeeper prospect here, Jeremy Gomez. 16 rushing out, only 10 reflexes. He's got a long ways to go, but, we're keeping an eye on any central defender prospect, any goalkeeper prospect we're keeping an eye on. Tristan Giacchi. He's got the jumping reach we like. He's got the size. He's a decent-looking player. Just don't know how much potential he's got. 3 stars, maybe 4 stars. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's a guy who might be worthy of a call-up with those mental attributes. He's got the jumping. He's got the size. He's got, the technicals where it counts. He doesn't have technicals anywhere else, but he does have tackling, marking, and heading, so that's interesting in and of itself. Let's see. The other team we could take a look at, of course, not that. We need to look at MLS. It's a little difficult to get to their academy. See if we can do it here. See if I remember how to get to Montreal Impact's academy. Is it affiliated clubs, Montreal Impact. Take a look at their under 18s. Again, it's kind of similar to our academy. They've got some nice prospects, not quite as many, but a couple of nice ones. Jeff Edwards, right back, 17 years old. Only 5 fitness, but he does have 17 teamwork, already 12 tackling, 12 marking for a 17-year-old. Pretty good at fullback. Left back, Chero. Decent technical or decent physicals. Technically, he's not very good. Mentally, he's very average, so we'll see if he can prosper. We'll see. But yeah, again, not a lot going on in central defense. One possible central defense candidate here, Philippe Pierre. But yeah, central defense, not a heck of a lot going on. Goalkeeper, not a lot going on. So we got issues. We got problems. Okay, finally we can take a look at the young players who made their way up into our first squad last year. Some of these guys, you saw them play quite a few games for us, or at least you saw them mentioned quite a bit. We have Darren Sr., the striker / right winger. We trained him up to right wing. He's looking very good right now. His physicals are pretty good. His determination is on the rise. You're seeing some down arrows right now, and this is because we're in preseason. I don't know what's going on, but our guys are not responding well to preseason training. I tried to do like a different regiment than I did last year. I tried to actually look at training and not just let my staff handle it. So I may have mucked some things up. But yeah, people have not responded well to our training in this off season or this preseason. Especially the young guys. So you're going to see a lot of down arrows going on here. But last year, these guys responded very well to training, so I'm hoping we can get back in that mindset going forward. Darren Hendricks, likewise, very similar type player. He's been training a little bit on the left wing. His finishing currently is going down. Bravery, composure. He's got a lot of stuff going down right now in the preseason. Even though he's been playing some games, he is injured currently, so that could account for some of it. But we got some problems with him. Mario Ahmed, another guy who played a few games for us last year, still looking pretty good. Still more of a wingback type player. His jumping reach didn't increase at all. But, his passing and marking and tackling all increased, so he's starting to get to be a more dependable player at fullback. And speaking of fullbacks, the big mover this year was Zlatkovic. He gained a full half star during the season. He's up to 2.5 stars of ability. So he's a guy that we got to keep our eye on because he could get up to his 4-star potential if he continues progressing at this rate. So Zlatkovic, physically he is very good. He's got that 16 determination. Right now he's losing a little bit of stats here and there, but like I said, it's a epidemic currently with our training schedule. So I don't know what's going on. Lemire, guy that we've been keeping at striker. He's also hit a very, very down period in his training right now. Everything is going down. Some guys that we're bringing back this year that we're going to be relying on, at least guys who we want to get more out of this year. Michael Baldissimo, 19 years old, under 20s. He played well for Team Canada under 23s. He's got a lot of, a lot of interesting abilities, a lot of MLS caliber attributes. But we just need to, at 19 years old, he needs to start playing either with us or with somebody else. Theo Blair, the big target man we tried out, briefly last year. We need to get more out of him at 20 years old. He needs to play and play quite a bit this season. Adonijah Reed, another young guy, played for us last year, 20 years old. Another guy we just need to get more playing time, see if he can improve. Right now he's not improving, only 2 stars. We need to get him playing time and see what he's got. Sean Hundle, the star of the under-23s. He's going to play a big factor for us this year, 20 years old. He's just got all the potential in the world. He's already 3 stars at 20 years old, so he's got a leg up on all of our other 20-year-olds. And, we got to get him in the lineup any which way we can. So currently we're going to be playing him at attacking center mid and see what he can do there. Let's see. Other than that, David Norman, the other big time. He's 21 now. He's going to be our starting defensive midfielder, the segundo volante. We're going to see what he can do. He's going to start every game, and we're going to see if he can improve, see if he can get better. He's already 3 stars. he's going to be one of the keys to our team this year and probably one of the keys to Team Canada going forward. He's one of the best defensive midfielders in the nation in terms of under 23s. So there we go. That's kind of the state of the nation, the state of the players. We're going to come back with some big games next episode. We've got North American Champions League coming up. So we're going to play those games with Vancouver. It's international competition. That's still in the spirit of this save. So we're going to come back with that next time. I think right now the nation is solid. We're in solid footing. But we have some storms on the horizon. When we look at our defense and our goalkeeping, we got to figure something out. We got to have a plan for that, 4 to 6 years from now. But that's for some other time. For now, we're going to play Champions League. So until next time, we'll see you later.